Hi Flosstube, welcome back. I'm Lori and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. I'd like to thank all the subscribers that I have. I'd like to welcome all the new people. I've heard through other people that make Flosstube videos that if you are subscribed to somebody, you should hit the bell next to the subscribe logo, and it will give you notifications whenever somebody uploads a new video. So a lot to share with you today, starting with life happenings. Last Friday, well, not this past one, the one before it, my son and daughter-in-law purchased their first home. So my husband and I have been over all last week, the weekend, the first weekend and the second weekend, helping them get their things well painted. Yeah, I've been painting, I've been taping and helping them wipe down the kitchen cabinets and lining them. It's been a lot of fun watching them, work on their new home. And my other son came over and helped them change locks, and his girlfriend Amy helped with lining the cabinet. So it's been a real family affair. Rebecca's parents came over, and her dad did an amazing job upstairs painting. So everybody's been helping them, and God willing, this coming weekend, most likely Saturday, they will be moving into this new home, and I'm so happy for them. And then this past Sunday was Father's Day, so my other son James, his girlfriend Amy, and her family, her parents and her sister, my husband, we all went out to celebrate Father's Day at an Italian restaurant nearby, and we had lots of fun. And the most well, there are two exciting things that happened for them. Amy's family are really theater goers. They love going to the theater. I mean, who doesn't? But sometimes we're just not able to go as often as we like. But they are really theater goers, and for her mom's birthday, they all chipped in and gave her tickets to attend the Tonys this past Sunday. So it was really exciting for them. It was fun hearing all the stories about that. And my son's girlfriend, Amy, is a permanent, she's in a show off Broadway as when somebody is out. What is that? It's so funny. This morning I taped this video. I did the whole video, and I was trying to figure out how to save it, what I had to do and everything, and I started watching it, and I realized that instead of saying my son James's girlfriend Amy, I said Amy's girlfriend Amy is in an off-Broadway show. Understudy, that's the word. And being that I made that mistake, I felt so bad, because I think it's awesome that she is able to be the understudy for a musical called the Marvelous Wonderettes. And this is the playbill to that show. And we went to see it, and she did an amazing job. This is Amy right here. It's a great musical, a lot of oldie songs. So it was really interesting. If you're ever in Manhattan and you need to see it, would like to see an off-Broadway play, I highly recommend it. It was great. And she's the permanent understudy for all 4 roles. It's 4 girls that are the lead in the entire show. And she has to know every single role. And basically, since it's a musical, who does the ooh and who does the ah, and she has to know when they do that. So I think it's awesome. And it's an amazing job that she did when we went to visit. I have some finishes. An exciting one that I'd like to show you, which I showed you last time, but it's FFO'd. I gave it to my son and my daughter-in-law when they closed on their house. And in the back, I have the date that they closed, and then I put their home address. And I told them that every time they move, if they move again, which, everybody feels like this is my house, I'm never going to move, and then you outgrow it and you either have to add on or move. They can take it with them, and I told them they can add their addresses on the back, and they'll always have a reference of where they've been and where they are. Okay, last summer is when I had just started making I was starting to stitch in April, and then that summer I was looking at all the great patterns that were available that got me back into cross stitching, and I found this Lizzie Kate for summer, and it's called Red, White, and Beach, and I did this one and the whale, this one. I'm having trouble with because I'm taping on my laptop now, and it's a little different than my tablet, so I have to get used to where to point and that I'm not getting you seasick. And this is how I finished Beach into a little pillow. Oops. And the whale, I did I watched a tutorial back then. It was Vonna the Twisted Stitcher. She showed how to do this, and when you add the rickrack, how you singe the edges so that they don't unravel. And yeah, I was really happy with that. So those are the ones that I made last year, and the reason I'm showing you them is because I use that same pattern because I was telling you about the cubes. Oh, here it is. That I picked up at the dollar store. Heather Moore spoke about them, how she bought them already cut and then she covered them. And I was looking for something that would fit design-wise. So when I was taking this out, I kind of like played around and to see if it was going to fit. And for the most part, it did. So I restitched it and I finished it in a cube. And that's my finish. I think I did it on an 18 count, I did on an 18 count Ada, where the other one could have been a 16 count. So it was a little bit larger, but this one fits. And I folded down and added the ribbon. And then when you do one, you want to do two because one is never enough. So I picked out a Lizzie Kate pattern from the Spring Smalls. Oops, here we go. It's this one up here. And I know it's not coming out clearly, but here's the finished product. And there we go. And I finished it the same way. I used 2 ribbons this time, and just put a white pin at the top to hold the ribbon down, and daisies in the back. So I like these. These were a lot of fun. So then when Theresa from the Kitten Stitcher, she showed her new basket, red, white, and berry, I believe. Red, white, blue. It's right here. Basket of red, white, and blue. I picked that up, and she finished it in this box and said she bought it at Hobby Lobby. So when I went there, they didn't have this the color that she showed on her video. So it was either like a beige, a red, and I think it was green. So I bought the beige, and then I repainted it with chalk paint. And I finished it with on the cube. Now I did change the pattern a little bit. I didn't put the bottom pedestal on. There was like 2 more lines that was like a pedestal that I didn't want. And then behind the stars there was some back stitching, not back stitching, but fill-in. And I liked it without it, so I didn't put the background stitches in there. And just to look at it again, I don't know if you can see that background stitching back there and the pedestal. So I decided not to do that. Excuse my nails, it's from working around the house and being in water all the time that they just don't stay polished well right now. And I have this little watermelon. It's a spongy thing that I got, and I don't know if it'll sit on top, aside, but it'll be a little display that I'll have out for summer that I'll be able to decorate with. And then when you buy one box, you buy two. And this was the color that they didn't have the first time I went. And I probably will keep it in this color. I think something for Halloween, and then maybe later on, both of them I could do something for Christmas. So that's the plan. Then while I was in Hobby Lobby, I also purchased this, which was brown, but I did not like the brown finish, so I painted it in white chalk paint, and it opens up and it has two shelves. So I'm thinking that I'm going to display some of my smalls in here, and there's a truck right back here that says "Let Freedom Ring," that I will probably put on top with maybe some sunflowers, and I'll do something. And that's the idea of I'll be doing that. And oh, that was originally $60, and it was in clearance for $15. So I couldn't say no, because my husband says, "What are you going to do with that? Or where are you going to put that?" So I'm going to display it, like I said, with some vignettes of summer. Hopefully it'll be pretty. I'll take a picture and post it on Instagram. And one more thing that I bought at Hobby Lobby was this window frame. This too was $60, and it too was reduced to $15. So I like what Priscilla did with her window. I believe she had more window panes, and maybe 3. And she did the Frosty Country Cottage Frosty Winter or something. She put them on here with magnets, and I love that idea. I'm going to take this off, and I'll do some kind of 6 Christmas winter scenes, and try to do the same thing that Priscilla did. Alrighty, so those are my fully finished projects and my purchases at Hobby Lobby. I don't know if I showed you this the last time. This is completed in that I got all the beads in this time, in her dress, her sleeves, and then in her hair piece. So all the beads are done. Now I have to look for a 6x6 frame, and so that I can frame it. And that's a present for a cousin. And my whips, the first one is Brenda Key's Plymouth Sampler by the Sampler Company, and I really love this. I just love the colors in it, and I enjoy working on it. And because of going over to my son's house and not being able to stitch as much, because we get home like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and a lot of times we haven't eaten dinner. Sometimes we eat there, sometimes the time just passes. So we'll come home, and by the time we finish dinner, cleaning up, I sit down thinking that I'm going to stitch, but sometimes the mojo's not there. So this was the piece that was in the rotation. I just took it off the Q-snap, and this is as far as I got. I've added all this section here since the last time you've seen it, and then I started this border last night, and between those two is water. So I'm hoping to get the water. I don't think I'll get it done in this rotation, but I'm hoping that between this rotation and the next one, that the water and maybe this side border will be it's going to look just like this border, will be completed. That's my goal for this one. Then my second whip is, I was waiting for floss to come in from my needlework store. I was working on Kringle and Woolard, and I was waiting, let's see, for the cuff on his jacket and the bottom of his jacket and the top of his hat. That's called Shabby Sheep, and I was waiting for it to come in, and it finally came in. So in the rotation, I did those 3 things plus the bottom of his pants and 1 boot, and then it was time to move on to one of my other projects that I was working on. And I tried to do on the larger projects, I try to do at least a 4 or 5 day rotation on it, and then on the smaller ones like this one, I try to do like a 3 day, and then I try to get the little ones in between so that I have some finishes that sometimes I watch a tutorial and I like, oh, that looks like so much fun, let me try it. And so I want those small ones in order to try some of those. This one, like this would be like that 3 day rotation, and then because Christmas is not that close, and I want to do some other things in between. And then the next one is Plum Street Heritage Sampler that I'm working on, and I'm having some issues with certain parts of this because it's over 1 thread, and I've never worked over 1 thread, so I don't know if I want to try it on a separate piece of Lugana and see how I could do it, or if I can't, maybe then I'll rechart it somehow. It's the section right in here. I'm sorry, I can't show you the pattern and the picture is really tiny, but it's this section right in here that says "Don't Tread on Me," and it looks like a swan in the year of 1776. So that's part of it. And then the 2 flags, one by Abraham Lincoln and then one at the bottom. Those flags are also done 1 over 1. Oh, and the words. So if I knew this prior to buying the chart, I don't know if I would have. But the words are not as difficult as the other parts, because the words at the top, even though you're doing the words, you have to fill in the back. And the back in those 4 boxes have to be 1 over 1. And then the rest of it is 2 over 2. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But this is as far as I got. I mean, I love it. I love the colors in it. But I just don't know what I'm going to do about it. That 1 over 1 section. Since you've last seen it, I believe I've added the side. The flower, the pumpkins, the pilgrim, and the tree after the motifs after the eagle. That's what I've done. So those are my whips. Now I want to make sure I talk about everything. I don't know if I mentioned it, so I just want to re-mention it because I want to give credit to everybody who's helped me finish my projects. And the cube finish was Heather Moore, and I watched her video on how to do this. And the cube is a lot easier for me than cutting out all the, she did foam core board, and she Theresa did the foam core board for this particular project. Heather Moore showed me how to do the cube finish. So between the two, the cube, I did use the cube to do Theresa's finish for this box instead of using foam core, and Heather Moore's tutorial on how to do the cube. So I just always want to make sure that I give credit to the people who helped me finish these. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I don't want to offend anybody. So on to what I've purchased. This is a Lizzie Kate November, in the Flip It series with Charm that I have, I think I have them all. I just didn't have the right November one. So I picked that up, and with that I saw Trisha from 3 Owl Threads. She was working on this at the New Jersey retreat, and these are adorable, so I picked that up. And then I also picked up Hands-On Design, Oh Say Can You See? And after seeing Vonna's tutorial on how to do a drum, I thought I might tackle that. So this drum, and then the pillow. And then at the bottom is the picture of what the drum looks like unrolled. I think it's so cute. So we'll see how I can manage that. And it comes with the finishing top piece for the drum. Oops, here. And that's the fabric for that. And then I purchased one more pattern from Erica Michaels, Sweet Freedom Berry, and it's to make a strawberry. This sample is done on 35 count homespun linen, but I can't do that small of a count because I can't see it well. So I will most likely do it on a 16 count Aida, maybe 18 count, I haven't decided, but between those two. And some of these Erica Michael berries are done on gauze. The one I really liked was the mermaid, and that's done in gauze, and I don't think I could do that, nor doing that high count fabric. So I purchased this one, and I think that's really nice with the flag and the house. I love it. So I'm going to try that as well. So when I see people finishing them on Flosstube, I always want to make a reference of who taught me how to do it. So, and then I purchased some fabric. This is 28 count ivory Lugana from Swigert, as you can see, that I got at my LNS. And these two are exactly the same. It's actually an antique white, 28 count Lugana white. And the last one I bought was Springfield Sage. It's like a greenish Swigert 28 count also. So I ventured out to 28 count, even though like it finishes, I guess, as almost like a 14 count Aida. But that's about how small as I can see that I can get things done. Oops, sorry. For those that get motion sickness. That's as small as I can go that I feel comfortable doing. So but the 1/1 is still in the back of my mind, wondering how I'm going to tackle that. So then my plans, what I do is in the evenings is when I usually work on my larger projects in a rotation, and then sometimes I'll put in a small one so that I can get something accomplished. In the meantime, I also want to start a Lila Studio Seasons Summer. I hope to get that done before visiting with you again. I have the August pillow to complete, and I usually do these twice, one for my daughter-in-law and one for myself. So the first one will go to her. And then I saw Priscilla finish this summer pillow, this one. And she put it on a picket fence that she might have gotten at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and it looked adorable, adorable. So I would love to do something similar to that. And then at the New Jersey retreat, I picked up this chart, Doodle Doo. I showed it to you last, and I love to do this, but when I went to pull the threads, I didn't have some of the colors. And let's see, if you get real close and you see the body of the, I guess it's a rooster, right? Because it has the top thing on the top, crown. If you looked at his body, you see how the thread is variegated, and it's called light khaki. And I have it, I bought it, but it's not quite as, let's see if I put it against here. You can see it's not quite as variegated. I did order some more light khaki because I didn't think that was going to be enough for his entire body. And I'm going to see how it comes out, and if it's still not quite variegated enough, I'll just pick something up at Needleworker's Delight that has a little bit of more variegation that I'd be able to use it. And I haven't decided if I'm going to do it on a light blue fabric or a tea-dyed Monaco. So I'll wait till my threads come in. I went to Needleworker's Delight because it seems like every pattern I pick up that I want to start, I don't have all the threads. And so this last time I went, I had a list, 3 pages, and one a little bit in the back. And the ones that are crossed out are the ones that they had, but the ones that aren't crossed out are the ones I needed to order. So I ordered them, and I'm waiting for them to come in. I'm trying not to go there as often because I have so much that I really want to finish that I don't want to be enticed to keep buying patterns at this time. I want to finish some, and then as I finish some, then I won't feel as guilty as buying more patterns. So let me just go through my notes. Okay, I do call this Once Upon a Stitch, and though most of it is regarding cross stitch, I just like to share 2 wall hanging quilts that I made. The first one I made was after taking an online class through craftsy.com. It's free to join. They have some free classes that you can watch, and they have some classes that you pay for. So this was one that I purchased, and it is linear landscaping, and the teacher was Gloria Laughlin, and this is it. And if you look at this, let's see if I can get a little closer and try to explain. The dark blue is let's say a solid piece of dark blue, and then you cut the other lighter blue and you leave like 1/8 of an inch between the two so that it looks like, I guess, movement. And the same thing for the mountains. You cut away like 1/8 of an inch, and then you fuse them down. And then after you fuse them down, you stitch around them. And you probably can't see the stitching too well on this side, but here's the back. There's like some of the stitching that I did. So after I took this class, this is funny because, excuse me, like I said, I did this video earlier, and making mistakes and the lighting issues, I just started to re-video it, retape it, and I put this away. But I'm bringing it out. This is a picture when we were in Sicily. We went to a town called Taormina, and I took this picture, and from this picture I made my second quilt, wall hanging, using those same techniques. Let me stand back. This way. So once you learn the technique of how to do something, you can change it up, and there's some of the quilting that I did on it. It's easy then to do a second one of how that's more personal to you. You know, you learn the technique and then you make it your own by, like in this case, I had a photograph that I wanted to try and do the same thing, and I did. Now, if you were to ask me to do it again, I probably would have to watch the video over for the details of how to do it. I mean, you know, basically I have an idea. I had to get, I started with a large piece of paper, I sketched it out, and then just started getting fabrics together for the mountains, for the water, for the rock, and then fused it on and used a heavier interfacing to hold it steady. And then you quilt on it, and then you finish it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you come back and visit. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I love responding to them. If it's something more technical, I will discuss it in my next video. And I should see you in about 2 weeks. Okay, Flosstube, enjoy your summer, and happy stitching. Bye.